All right, guys. All right. Ready to go into US Standard 16, part one here. Let's try to get into this, have a good time. I think you guys will enjoy it. So let's just look at what's going on here first. So what you need to know for US Standard 16 is this question right here. What happened after World War One? What happens after World War One? Remember, it ends in 1918. So we're talking about the 20s, which is nicknamed the Roaring 20s because Americans are going to have a lot of fun in the Roaring 20s. And then in the 1930s, which will be the standard after this, that's 17, they'll get into the 30s, and the thing is the fun's over. The party has come to an end. But let's enjoy the 20s, have a good time, have me play a lot of music for you guys because this is when jazz starts, and it's amazing. All right. So what happened after World War One and before the Great Depression? All right, here's some vocab for you guys need to know. We'll focus on part one, which will be communism, socialism, the Red Scare, immigrant restriction. Then we'll get into part two. We got Henry Ford, which y'all all know about. Some of you love the Ford, some of you love the Chevy, but we're going to talk about the Ford. Yeah, mass production and the automobile. Then we'll get into part two, talking about the radio, clicking on the radio. We can all play music good now because we got radio. And then the movies. And then lastly, we'll have a good time with this new culture that's going to develop in America, which y'all are kind of familiar with Louis Armstrong, jazz, Langston Hughes, the Harlem Renaissance, and Irving Berlin. And then Tin Pan Alley, which will be something new to you. All right, let's kick this off. Have your notes ready, and we'll get into this. It'll be a blast. And make sure you have something to write with. You'll be ready to go in 5, 4, 3. That's right. 2, 1. All right, so here we go. What you need to know here, and the little introduction is, in the decades after World War I, conservatives in the country tried to impose their image of America on the nation, while a new generation of young people challenged traditional values and authority on social matters. This standard will measure your understanding of the social issues experienced during the 1920s. That's right, that's right, that's right. All right, let's keep it going here. Our first topic here we're looking at is communism and socialism. It's communism and socialism. If you don't understand this at the end of this, make me explain it to you in class. Look stuff up, talk to me, we'll get it figured out. It's not hard. All right, in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, a new political ideology called, that's right, type it in there, called, let me capitalize this for you, communism. A new political ideology called communism grew out of the more moderate socialism. All right, the more moderate socialism. Communism was based on a single-party government ruled by a, can you guess it? It starts with a D. Can you guess it? It's ruled by a dictator. That's right. Under communism, there is no private ownership. No private ownership. All property is owned by the state or the country or the government that is in charge. All right. In 1919, the year after the war ended, after communist revolutionaries known as, do you remember the name of these guys? Communist revolutionaries known as Bolsheviks. Remember learning about the Bolshevik Revolution or the Russian Revolution last year? They overthrew the Tsar. And you can spell that a couple different ways, T-Z-A-R. I like C-Z-A-R. They overthrew the leadership or the Tsar in Russia and established the Soviet Union and called for a worldwide revolution to destroy what we are. What type of economy do we have? To destroy, that's right, can you say it? Can you say it? Capitalism, to destroy capitalism, the type of economy that we have. People of the United States now, knowing this, Bolshevik Revolution working, people in the United States began to, can you guess it? What do we begin to do? We began to fear communists, being very afraid. Oh my God, communists are taking over. This is fear. This is scare. This fear of international communism was called we had a name for it in the newspaper, Red Scare. All right, the Red Scare. There'll be the Red Scare, and there'll be another Red Scare later on, first and second. Because red was the color of the communist. Guess what it is? Red is the color of the communist flag. That's right. This fear led to the government pursuing suspected, who are we talking about again? Government. All right, will begin to pursue suspected communists and the more moderate, you remember them? Socialists. All right, the more moderate socialists. This Red Scare will begin. All right, Pooh will be afraid back here. You see him checking you out. And life in the United States will begin to change. We'll basically start a witch hunt for communists in America, because we don't want that here in America because they want to destroy capitalism. And again, have me explain it more in the class. The Red Scare. That's right. That's right. All right. Takes us to our next topic here. Immigration restrictions will happen because of the Red Scare. So here we go. The Red Scare was one factor that led to new, can you guess it? Led to new, you see the word, oh, it's already there. Led to new restrictions. That's right. Led to new restrictions on immigrants or on immigration. Other factors were two ideas that grew strong in America in the, what's the decade again? In the 20s. One of the ideas was that people born in America, check this out, people born in America, this is an idea that goes kind of, if you're born in America, you were, can you guess it? Can you guess it? Superior, that's right, to immigrants. This idea began running, if you're born in America, you're superior to the immigrants. The other idea that came out, was that America should keep its, can you guess? Keep its traditional culture, that's right, keep its traditional culture intact. All right, we need to keep our traditional culture intact because we that are born here are superior to the immigrants. This will all come from the Red Scare. All right, anti-immigrant, anti-Jewish, anti-Catholic sentiments contributed to the popularity of, here comes, the Ku Klux Klan. It's going to become more popular to this time period. The Ku Klux Klan, not just in the South, but throughout the entire nation. Ultimately, this conservative reaction against immigrants resulted in the passage of legislation that set, what did it set? What did it set? It set limits on the number of immigrants who could come from, what would you put here? Come from other countries or each country. That's right, other countries or each country. Okay, I'm going to pause here. We'll get part two when we get down to popular culture. All right, very good, very good. Now let's look at a few of these things here, kind of make sure we know what's going on here. Let's look at first here. And if you remember the Bolshevik Revolution, you really need to be real focused on this, and so you know what's going on here with the Bolshevik Revolution. All right, so the year is 1917. What's the other thing do y'all remember the other thing about 1917? Think about it. All right, 1914, the United States was not in World War I because of neutrality. 3 years passed, and in 1917, we joined the war. In 1917, World War I, we go to Europe. Guess what the Russians do? They leave. They get out of the war. They were on our side, actually. And they leave the war, and they go through what's called the Bolshevik Revolution or the Communist Revolution, or it's also called the Russian Revolution. And they go through this whole thing. It's something you learn about in world history where the communists will take over the Bolsheviks. All right. Do you remember the guy that was in charge of that? There's a drawing of him. This is Lenin, Vladimir Lenin. That's right. Lenin will be the person that will lead this Bolshevik revolution that will lead to this Red Scare eventually in the United States. All right, there he is again. Here's Lenin. That's right. All right, so let's just look at this. All right, so there's Lenin. He'll lead the Russians to become communists. Okay. All right, check it out. Communism, there's a party. Communism does not stay in Russia. That's what we're afraid of. And you see a couple of different communists here. This is the guy who starts it all, Karl Marx with his Communist Manifesto. There's Lenin. And then Stalin will be the person to take over Russia after Lenin. He looks like Fidel Castro, communist in Cuba. And this looks like maybe communism in Vietnam. All right, communist, it's a party. All right, check out, here's some other, this is some, just kind of just me wanting to show you what communism really does here, dictatorship does. The socialist trio of the worst atrocities. Yes, Hitler, not a communist, but he is definitely a socialist. All right, look at here. Look at all these folks. Stalin, Mao Zedong. That's right. All right, check it out. Look at this. The immigrant restrictions. Can you see the political cartoon? What is going on? We're worried about if we let some immigrants come in. Look, they're undesirable. They might be bringing a bomb into the U.S. We better shut that gate. We can't let those immigrants in here. All right, look. Red flag is going to stop. What's this red flag supposed to represent? Communism might be stopping American progress, American industry. Stop the red flag. Oh, no. Check this out. This is kind of cool here. Imports and exports. Entrance. Look at all these reds coming in. Communists coming in, interest. But nobody's going out. We got more and more people coming in. This is anti-immigrant sentiments right here. Did it to the Chinese already. We're going to do it to Germans and many others later on. All right. Check this out. The red iceberg. Red iceberg. Check it out. All right, that's supposed to be the Titanic is the United States. The big, strong, full United States is like the Titanic, and communists are going to come in. This is somebody that doesn't like certain people. Like somebody thinks that Obama is a communist. He's not a communist. MSNBC, bad station. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Barney Frank. The United States is going to be run into communists. It gets red. The hammer and the sickle. All right. And we will stop right there with part 1. Let's look at one more thing real quick and kind of quiz you guys. Focus, focus, focus. And let's see here if you guys can get these questions right. Get these questions right. What country went through a revolution that started communism? Guess it. Holler it out. Holler it out. 3, 2, 1. Yell it. Yes, Russia. Very good. Very good. What is the time called after World War I that describes the fear of communism in the United States? 3, 2, 1. Yell it. That's right. The Red Scare. What was the response toward immigrants during the Red Scare? Can you say it? Can you say it? What was our response to it? Restrictions all placed on them. And then we'll get to these others in a moment. All right, guys. Over and out. Part 1. We will see you guys on the other side. Very good. Very good.